The average person watches 11,000 hours of pornography in their lifetime. I watched that much in just 3 years. I spent a decade figuring out why willpower fails, why motivation fades, and why smart people stay stuck in cycles they hate. What I discovered will change how you think about addiction forever, but first, let me show you what rock bottom actually looks like. I spent years stuck in the same cycle. I'd say this is the last time, but the next morning I'd wake up tired and groggy. I was letting life pass me by. I was choosing to stay stuck. Every day I said tomorrow will be different, but I didn't change anything. That moment changed everything. It was the first time I stopped blaming the habit and asked myself the real question: what was I trying to avoid? Why did I keep numbing myself instead of living? I didn't have all the answers, but I knew one thing. Willpower wasn't enough. My brain had been rewired from years of quick dopamine hits. That was the start. That was day one, and here's what the next 10 years taught me. The first 2 years were brutal. I kept making the same mistakes again and again. Sometimes I'd go 3 or 4 days without slipping, sometimes even a week, but then, boom, I'd fall right back into it. I was fighting myself every single day. If I felt stressed at work, I'd relapse. If I was home alone for an hour, I'd relapse. Even on good days, I'd say things like, "It's fine, I deserve this," but it never helped. It made me feel worse. Looking back, I made 3 big mistakes. First, I thought I needed more willpower. Second, I kept fighting the urge instead of asking why I felt it. And third, I tried to do it all by myself. No one told me that willpower will run out. The more you use it during the day, the weaker it gets. I was trying to use a broken tool to fix everything. That's why I kept failing. You need systems. You need to change how the game works. I stopped seeing myself as someone trying to quit. Instead, I started building a life where I didn't need porn or addictions. That shift changed everything. Years 3 and 4 were when I finally got serious about changing my surroundings. I realized I'd been trying to change my actions while keeping everything else exactly the same. Same bedroom setup, same late night habits, same apps on my phone. I started with small changes. I moved my computer out of my bedroom. I put app blockers on every device and set them to strict mode so I couldn't change them. I completely changed my nighttime routine. No screens after 9 p.m. and I started reading real books again. Something interesting began to happen. The constant mental battle started to get quieter. I wasn't fighting urges every 5 minutes because I'd removed most of the things that triggered them. This is when I discovered how powerful environmental design can be. Your surroundings are shaping your behavior, even when you think you're making conscious decisions. Research shows that pornography is over 1/3 of all internet downloads. You're fighting an environment designed to keep you hooked. Real change happens when you make the unhealthy choice harder to reach and the healthy choice easier to reach. Every extra step between you and the old habit gives you time to think. That time can save you. But where most people fall is they just remove the triggers. You have to replace them with something better. I started filling those empty spaces with things that actually mattered to me. Reading, exercise, calling friends. I wasn't avoiding porn, I was proactively building a life I actually wanted to live. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. If you don't change the ground you stand on, you'll keep losing the same fight. Most people stop here, but this is where it gets psychological. By year 5, I had my systems working well. My environment was helping me, I was going longer without messing up, but I still felt like I was managing a problem instead of actually getting better. The bad feelings were quieter, but they were still there, hiding underneath. That's when I started looking deeper. I began writing in a journal, thinking about what was making me want to escape in the first place. I read about trauma, connecting with others, and why some people develop addictions while others don't. What I found out surprised me. This wasn't about porn at all. It was about the pain I was carrying since I was a kid. The feeling that I wasn't good enough, that I had to hide parts of myself to be liked. Every time I reached for that escape, I was running from the unhealed trauma. I realized this wasn't about the habit, it was about who I thought I was. Research shows that people who had hard childhoods are up to 10 times more likely to develop addictions. That's not coincidence. Addiction is a way to numb pain, to escape feelings you don't want to deal with. I had to stop asking, how do I quit this, and start asking, what am I trying to avoid? The real triggers weren't about porn itself. They were about guilt, rejection, and loneliness. The addiction isn't the root, it's the alarm. It's telling you that something deeper is hurting and needs your attention. Now, what I'm about to tell you sounds hard, but stay with me. The last few years were when the magic really happened. The thing that made it easy wasn't what you think. By year 7, everything felt different. I wasn't fighting urges anymore. I wasn't checking myself every 5 minutes. Something had shifted. At work, in conversations, at parties, I was present, grounded. People even said I seemed more real, and for the first time, I believed them. The old triggers still popped up sometimes, but they felt like echoes, not traps. This is when recovery became effortless, not because I got stronger, but because I stopped fighting myself. I'd rebuilt the systems, rewired my triggers, and healed the emotional roots. I wasn't someone trying to quit anymore. I was someone who had nothing left to run from. Then something new happened. People started coming to me, friends, strangers, guys who were where I used to be, and suddenly my story wasn't just mine. It became something I could give away. Addiction wasn't the enemy. It was the teacher. It taught me about the pains I was hiding. Now, before I give you the exact action steps, there's one thing I need you to understand. Everything I just shared, the 10-year journey, the systems, the psychology, it all comes down to one simple truth that will determine whether you succeed or stay stuck. The addiction isn't your identity. It's a signal that something deeper needs attention. It's your brain's way of coping with pain you haven't learned to face yet. And that's okay. That's human. I broke free with these 3 shifts. Number 1, I changed my environment. Number 2, I healed my deeper pain. And number 3, I replaced my bad habits with activities that made me feel alive. That's the system. That's what actually works. You don't need a perfect plan, just one small step. Block the sites, move the devices, call someone. Each action builds the life that you want. Recovery isn't about being perfect. It's about doing something. You only have to take the first step. Now you've learned the system, but you need to feel what this transformation looked like. Watch this video on my first 1,000-hour journey here, or miss out on making that first commitment.